Hey guys, welcome to episode 7 of Bukkit for Beginners, where I'm going to teach you all about arrays. But first I need to go over the homework. So, let's go into our Eclipse. I asked you guys to make a private method that returned a boolean, so true or false, and what was it called? Oh, combined length is greater than 10. That's a long method name. And it took one string named string1 and another string named string2. Open that up. And then I said I want you to combine the length of these two strings as an integer. So int combine length is equal to string1 dot length plus string2 dot length. So this returns an integer, this returns an integer, so you're actually adding two integers here, and we're going to store it as an integer called combine length. We'll say if combine length is greater than 10, return true, else return false. And boom, there is our method. We're going to just test this one out really fast. We'll say combined length is greater than 10. Okay, so we're calling the method. We're going to give it a string named poop, another string named stuff. So poop is 4, stuff is 5. 5 plus 4 is 9. So this should not return true. What are you complaining about? Oh, we're trying to do the combine. Oops. Get that combined string method out of here. And now what are you complaining about? Oh, remember how we said it in the previous episode, how there's a toString method with most things? Well, the boolean has one as well. So if we just add an empty string here, it's going to automatically convert, because this is going to come back as a boolean, so true or false. So you need to convert that into a string that actually says true or false. And by adding this, it's going to call the toString method. So let's save this, export this really fast, do our triple enter. What's your warning? Oh, it's saying that we didn't use this. It's getting pissed. So, close out of here, go to our server, run it, logging a severe method, and it says false because 5 plus 9, which is the length of the combined length of these, is not greater than 10. If we made stuff, and we re-export this, reload the server, it's going to come back as true because it is greater than 10. So our code works perfectly. Let's stop this. Stop. Get out of there. Alright, awesome. Okay, so we are good to go. We can get on to arrays. Arrays are fun. They're a lot of fun, actually. So an array is basically, it's a type of variable. It is, I'm trying to think of how to explain this. So an array is kind of like it's a collection of variables. So you can and you designate this by adding two open brackets. So you can have an integer array. Having these two open things means this is an array of integers. We'll call this int array, and this is equal to, you can make it in a new integer array, and then you need to tell it how big you want it. So we'll say we want 10 spots in this array. You can also do other int array is equal to, you can open up curly braces and give it values like 1 separated by commas, 1, 2, 5, 10. And this is going to create an other int array array, I guess, with 4 spaces, and each space is filled up. So right now with this one, because you created one that has 10 spaces, each one's just going to be 0. You can also make an array of whatever you want. You can make an array of strings. Array equals we'll do stuff, turds, ponies, and that's it. You can make an array of players, and a lot of methods that you use are going to give you back an array of players, and you can do stuff with it. So give me 1 second here. So we can have a player array, and then a player is an object. We'll get into that actually next episode when we do our first command. So the way that you access something inside of an array, it's kind of the same way that you declared it, that you created it. You would do string array. Now all arrays start at 0, so the first element inside of an array is at the index or the spot of 0. So that's the first spot. And we can set this equal to beans. So what this is going to do is it's going to take the first spot in this string array, which in this case is stuff. It's going to set that equal to beans. So now the string array is going to be beans, turds, and ponies. Same thing with the int array. So this int array has zeros as its values. So we can do int array. You can set the 4. 4 is actually the 5th spot because it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's actually the 5th, or 4. That's the 5th spot in the array. So int array 4 is equal to 5. That's going to set that, the 5th spot in this array, equal to 5. So this array is now going to be 0, 0, 0, 0, 5, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, like that. And that is about it. With an array, you can print it out. To do that, you have to like loop through it, and I'll get into loops a little later on. They're not complex, but they're just a little bit higher up. So we'll get into those a tiny bit later. But that's about it for arrays. There's also well, there's an array list, but I'll get into lists and maps, like hash maps and stuff, all that fun jazz. That'll be a little bit later as well. So I'm sorry, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that relates to arrays that you guys will need to know. This is how you make a new array. No, looks like that's about it. So when we make our first command, there's going to be, like when you do a command, because you know a command can be like teleport Appljuze John. So these are arguments. So Appljuze is going this is the command, and it's going to teleport me to John. Now this, when you do the command, you do the whole command, and this is going to return back as an array of strings. All these, anything past that first command, Appljuze is going to return. It's going to come back to you as a string array, and it's going to be called args. So args 0 is going to be equal to Appljuze, because that's the first part, that's the first element in this array. And I'm sure you can guess John is going to be what? Args 1. 1 is going to be John. So you will see that next episode, and that's about it. Homework, it's going to be pretty simple. I feel like we're making methods in all these things. Make a private method. Actually, no, make a public method. Make it public. It's going to return an array of booleans. Okay. And it's going to be called what are we gonna? We'll call this get booleans. This isn't going to really do anything useful, but it'll help you understand the concept. It's going to be called get booleans, and the parameters is going to be a string named string1 and an integer named cool number. Okay, now the actual code, what it's going to do, it's going to get the length of string. Okay, it's going to get the length of string, store it as an integer. And then if the length is greater than 5, you're going, or I'm sorry, before you do any of that code inside of the method, create a new Boolean array. But don't initialize it. Here's a little trick. Here's a little test for you guys. Don't actually like create the array as in putting stuff in it. Just give it a name. So I can just do int I and give it no name, and I'll have to initialize it later. Like later on, I'll have to say I is equal to that. But you can initialize variables without giving them value. So you're just gonna you're gonna initialize the array, and then you're gonna get the length of string. And if the length of the string, sorry, I'm writing this down so I remember it. If the length of string is greater than 10, you're going to add the first spot in Boolean in the Boolean array. You're going to make the first spot true. If it's not greater than 10, so else, you're going to make it false. Then, if the integer cool number is greater than 100, you're going to make the second spot in the Boolean array true. If it's not greater than 100, you're going to make it false. And you're going to, at the very end of all that, you're going to return the Boolean array. And that is it for this episode. Get your coding hands ready, I guess, whatever, because we're doing the first command next. Should be a lot of fun. Thanks for watching, guys. Comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Send me an email or Skype if you have questions, and stay tuned. Down in the forest, we'll sing a chorus, one that everybody knows. Hands held higher, we'll be on fire, singing something nobody wrote. My brain has given up.